My name is Earl Pinto, and I am the guest host of the Flo Kennedy Show. We are greatly honored to have as our guest today a great woman, a freedom fighter for African people throughout the world. Her name is Queen Mother Moore. Welcome, Queen Mother.
Thank you.
How did you become known as Queen Mother Moore?
Well, that name was bestowed upon me by the African students, first of all, as a result of my years of activities in this country. They gave it to me. And when I went to Africa, to Dr. Nkrumah's funeral, the chief heard about me, and he sent for me to come to him. And I went, and he said, I'm going to make you officially Queen Mother of the Ashanti. And he initiated me Queen Mother. But I was Queen Mother before I went to Africa.
Did you personally know the late Kwame Nkrumah?
Yes, I did. I knew him here.
Okay, you met him while he was visiting here?
Yes.
Okay, and that is in conjunction with your work?
Yes.
I understand that you sent a petition to the United Nations in, I think, 1957 for reparations for the black people in America. Explain something about that to us.
Yes, the petition called for us to go back to Africa, for those who wanted to go back. And for those who wanted to stay here, there had to be certain indemnity given for the people who wanted to stay, the people who wanted to go.
What kind of indemnity?
Well, I was asking for $200 billion.
$200 billion to indemnify?
Yes, for the injury that we have received. The injury as a result of our enslavement.
Okay, that's for our 400 years of enslavement.
Yes.
As reparations, we requested $200 billion.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay, when you sent this petition to the United Nations, what kind of response did you get?
I got very good response, but he told me that we needed a member nation to introduce the resolution, since we were not officially members of the UN.
Is this with your work with the Republic of New Africa?
No, that was not. I went as a member of the Ethiopian Women, the Universal Association of Ethiopian Women.
I understand that you founded that organization.
Yes.
And what was that organization about?
To save our men from execution. They were being executed at the rate of 2 a week almost. There was somebody being executed.
Then unjustly executed?
Yes, we felt they were unjustly executed. And we tried to save some of them. We did save some.
Mention a few.
From execution. Labat and Poret. We saved those. We saved Jenkins. We saved another brother.
Well, there was a number of people that were saved from execution because they were unjustly charged with crimes.
Yes.
And where did this take place?
In New Orleans.
Okay,
Louisiana.
You're from New Orleans,
yes.
I understand. Okay. And then you also worked with Marcus Garvey.
Yes.
Tell us first something about Marcus Garvey.
Well, I was first brought into the Marcus Garvey movement by the fact that I understood that he was to come and speak to us in Louisiana. Mm-hmm. And we went to the meeting, and lo and behold, he didn't come. And we heard that the mayor refused to allow him to come. So we were very incensed about it and got a delegation to go see why. And then it was guaranteed that Marcus Garvey would come the next night. And the hall was packed with people. And everybody went with ammunition.
They had guns?
They had guns. Everybody had guns. Blue Steel, Smith & Wessons, German Lugers, had plenty German Lugers because, you know, the war it was boys from the war and everything. And I had 2 guns with me, and they all had guns and ammunition, a bag of ammunition. Everybody had what you call a suitcase today. We used to call satchels.
What was all this?
Ammunition.
Why were you so armed?
Because we was afraid the police would stop him from coming again.
Okay.
And we wanted to protect him. And so we went. 3,500 people was in that hall. And so when Garvey came, we applauded very much. And he said, "My friends, I want to apologize for not speaking to you last night, but the reason I didn't speak to you is because the mayor permitted himself to be used as a stooge by the police department to prevent me from speaking to you." And when he said that, the police jumped up and said, "I'll run you in." And when the police did that, everybody jumped up on the benches. We had benches then. And took out their guns straight up. The guns were straight up in the air. "Speak, Garvey, speak." And Garvey said, and as I was saying, and he went and repeated himself. And the police filed out of there like little puppy dogs with their little tails between their legs. Every policeman filed out of the hall.
Okay, after which I understand you started a chapter of his organization?
No, I didn't start a chapter. Okay. We had a chapter going down there.
Okay. And you purchased stock in
the Black Star Line, yes.
What was that? What was the Black Star Line?
Black Star Line was ships that Marcus Garvey was buying.
For what purpose?
To go to Africa. To go to Africa and to trade with Africa. He was going to trade with the West Indies and Africa.
And what was the result of the purchase of the ships? Did they ever get to Africa?
No, the people sabotaged the ships. There was great sabotage. You know, on Garvey's board, he had a lot of enemies of our people. You couldn't talk about Africa in those days without expecting the agents to be around you. You had the agents of Belgium, you had the agents of France, you had the agents of England, and all those agents were sitting on his board.
Or trying to sabotage his work.
And yes, in the form of blackskins.
Okay.
You see, so they sabotaged the ships.
All right.
And then they charged Garvey with fraud because they were saying that he was selling unworthy ships, you know.
How did the work of Marcus Garvey influence your life?
Oh, very much so. Oh, yes, because he taught me about the glories of Africa. I never went to sleep anymore since then. Never. I did much study since then of my own.
On the glories of Africa?
Yes.
You've made numerous trips to Africa. I understand that you recently attended the Women's Conference, the International Women's Conference.
Yes.
Tell us about that.
Yes, that was very great. It was very widely attended with 8,000 women.
Okay. Yes. During your travels, recent travels to Africa, you went to Ethiopia, I understand.
Yes, I went to Ethiopia.
Did you witness some of the famine?
No, they didn't let us go there. We didn't see anything of the famine. You wouldn't even know they had a famine.
I guess
they kept that from the people.
I guess that's sometimes like people visiting New York never get to see Harlem and Bedford-Stuyvesant.
That's right.
They just show you the...
That's right, the part they want you to see. That's right.
You have land in upstate, Parksville, I believe it is. Where
yes.
It's you have the Mount Addis Ababa.
Mount Addis Ababa.
Okay, and you doing work on that mountain.
Well, we want to build there a college of African studies. We want to build a monument to the 100 million Africans who perished in the slave trade, and for those who died since. all the people who died.
You mean
the
a
struggle.
100
million.
million?
100 million died in the slave trade. Yes.
So that's our whole Holocaust.
Yes, that's our Holocaust.
Holocaust.
Holocaust. Yes.
All right. This institution that you want to build, the purpose of it will be to educate black people?
Yes, to educate our people, to help our people to understand, to de-Negroize us. To de-Negroize us, change our minds from European minds. You know, we have no idea the condition that we're in, the psychoneurosis that we suffer. We suffer a terrible, terrible blight. We don't know who we are. We use European names, and we just are comfortable with our condition. We really don't know who we are. We have no idea. We're captive. And we're absolutely comfortable with this situation.
I know I feel personally very honored that you had given me an African name, Menelik.
And don't you feel better since you have a... That's
a
right.
lot better. And most of my friends call me by Menelik.
Yes.
And what is the significance of that name?
That name is meant, it's great. It's an Ethiopian name.
Okay. You're working with Mount Addis Ababa, and you're going to erect a monument to commemorate the 100 million blacks that had died?
Africans.
Africans.
Yes, Africans, yes.
Okay, you have an organization that's working with this effort?
Yes. They perished in the slave traffic.
Okay. What are some of the other works, things that you're personally involved in presently?
Well, that's mostly what I'm taking up with now, trying to build that monument and trying to build the institute.
The institute?
Yes.
That's the school?
Yes.
You once told me that you were fighting for the freedom of Lizzie Williams.
Oh, for Lizzie Williams, yes. Lizzie Williams, bless her heart. She's so dear. She just sent me a Christmas card with $5 in it. She's so wonderful.
She was sentenced?
She was sentenced to 218 years in prison. She's in her 70s.
Why was she sentenced?
For perjury in Alabama. For perjury. Her boyfriend stole 2 chickens, and she swore that he was with her. And they charged her for that, for lying, you know, that he was with her instead of stealing the chickens, and then charged her with accessory to the crime.
I understand that you was instrumental in breaking Jim Crow in the baseball league.
Yes. You know, at one time there was Jim Crow in the league that blacks couldn't play. And the people, especially the Jewish people, was fighting Jim Crow in the big league. And they asked me to head the committee to fight Jim Crow in the big league. And of course, I was a Negro then. I used to be a Negro. And everything sounded good to me. The Negro fights Jim Crow and that kind of thing. And I fought Jim Crow. And I didn't realize what I was doing. If I hadn't been a Negro, I wouldn't have fought to get a Negro in the big league. I wouldn't have did that. I would have fought to get a team in the big league. One of our baseball team, we had great teams. I dismantled the teams. My work dismantled the teams. We had neighborhoods where our ball games would play, and the children was happy, and the old ladies was selling pies and things at the ball games, and children was shining shoes, and We had hotels, and it was something when they had a ball game in town. But all of that's dismantled. All of that, there's no more hotels or anything. You see, Jim Crow has done away with all of that.
Excuse me. I would like to reintroduce our guest. Our guest today is Queen Mother Moore. This is the Flo Kennedy Show. Queen Mother, you said that you were a Negro at the time, and you wished to, and you wanted to, you wished that you had put teams instead of individuals into the league. Was you instrumental in getting Jackie Robinson into the league?
I was interested in breaking Jim Crow, and yes, Jackie came as a result of that. And Statue Page and all of those people, I didn't know them, but they all was employed as a result of breaking Jim Crow in the big league. That's right.
Your work with the Universal Association of Ethiopian Women resulted, I understand, in putting welfare recipients back on the roll.
Oh, the welfare dismissed 23,000 families from the roll, put them off, white and black, mothers with illegitimate children, just threw them off. Sent the mothers letters saying, this is your last letter you're going to receive. The last welfare you got, the last one, is the last one you're going to get. Not the next one you're going to get, but the last one you receive. The one you've eaten up is the last one you're going to get.
That's hard.
That's right. And told the Red Cross, don't help these people. They're illegitimate and they're not entitled to help. Told the Charity Hospital not to help them. Told the Salvation Army, don't give them a thing because they're not entitled. So the mothers had nowhere to go. We had to help the mothers to get food. We went around and begged the stores to give us food. The French market gave us food, baskets, cartons of food. And the bakeries gave us baskets of bread. All of their stale bread they gave us. And we, the pharmacists gave us medicine for the babies and all.
Were these 23,000 families eventually restored to the welfare rolls?
They were, yes. Louisiana was called to Washington for a hearing. Said, why have you cut these people off? And Long got up and said that that two states had cut them off, and he didn't hear any ruckus about it. And why all this fuss about going on in Louisiana? I say, because you didn't have any Ethiopian women in those states. And they rapped the gavel for me because that was a judicial hearing. It wasn't to be no one to speak. But I spoke there. I said, because you didn't have any Ethiopian women.
I was told that the Ethiopian women had helped the Ethiopians after, I think, Mussolini attacked Ethiopia during the war.
Oh, yes. We played a great role in getting clothing and getting food, getting things, sheets. Went to the laundry and got sheets and got the nurses to sterilize the sheets and roll them up in bandages to send to Ethiopia. Oh, yes.
Did the supplies reach Ethiopia?
I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know.
Did you ever meet the emperor at the time?
I've never met the emperor personally, but I've seen him a lot of times.
Okay. Yeah. What is your work now is with the monuments, you said, and you want to push forth the idea of building a monument on Mount Addis Ababa.
Yes, it's absolutely necessary, very necessary for our people to understand that we must build that monument to those millions, 100 millions who perished during the traffic of slavery.
Is this monument going to be a physical building?
It's
Is it
going to be a school, a college, a big, everlasting monument. Yes. And we're going to have African students to come and attend this school too.
I was in a library not long ago, and I saw your picture in the main library at 42nd Street in New York. What was that about?
Well, the Schlesinger sent throughout the country. They gathered pictures of the outstanding women, the most militant women, the women who have made the greatest contribution, over 70 years old. They had to be over 70.
How old are you now?
Yes, I'm 87.
87. Right.
Yes, I'm 87.
And these women were over 70 years old?
Yes, they had to be over 70 years old. And I was one of the 10 outstanding women that they had in the country. And they made my picture.
That was a great honor.
Yes, it was. It's very great. And they put it in the library.
Okay, and also in the...
on 42nd Street and in the Schomburg Library.
And I think there was a meeting there at the Schomburg
Yes.
also
Yes.
commemorating the women who were
Yes.
selected. Yes. We have not much time left in this program. And would you be able to sum up what you think a message, let's say for black youth or Africans, that would help them in knowing themselves and being a contributor to their race?
Yes, well, I think the most important thing is to study and to find your name, who you are, to get a name for yourself. You have to get a name. Don't go through life with a European name. You've got to put down that name. Just take a name. Just take an African name and name yourself. And learn who you are. That's the...
How would you suggest that a young person go about that?
Well, you got to look yourself in the mirror. Who are you? Who are you? Most of our people don't know who they are. They don't know. They're thinking European. They don't have a mind of their own. They got to get their right mind back. They can't think. They can't think. I don't care if you have your PhD. Don't tell me you've gone to the best colleges. The best college didn't give you your identity, didn't give you a national identity at all. You've got to be able to comprehend what you're thinking. You've got to be able to understand and think for yourself and stop thinking in the pattern that the other people want you to think all the time.
You think this begins with taking upon yourself an African name?
Oh, yes.
And that has
Yes.
a great significance and, I guess,
Yes.
influence over the mind.
Yes.
I know it has for me.
Yes.
So you suggest that the young black people take upon themselves an African name
Yes.
to get to know who they are.
That's right. I didn't have to change my name because the Moors was a great nation of Africans. You see, I didn't have to do that.
So you were born with an
Yes,
African name.
I was born a Moor. Yeah.
It's very good. We have here Queen Mother Moore, and this is the Flo Kennedy Show. Thank you very much. See you next time.